Hello and welcome to City Beat. We are your central source of news and information for the city of Rocky Mount, and I'm your host, Tamika Norman. If you haven't been to downtown Rocky Mount in a while, well, you haven't seen all the construction that's going on. Behind me is the future home of the Rocky Mount Event Center. So coming up in just a few, we're going to speak with Brad Kerr, our Director of Engineering, who's going to give us an update on the progress of the Event Center. Also, a little later on in the show, we're going to speak with Leigh about our new exhibit at the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences called Roots of Wisdom, Native Knowledge, Shared Science. So stay tuned. City Beat is coming up next.
Know how many babies were born in the Twin Counties last year? My son Carr has 9,100 playmates who were born in Nash and Edgecombe counties last year.
Hello and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Tamika Norman, and I'm really excited about today's show. We're going to start off, as you can see right now, we're in front of the future home of the Rocky Mount Event Center. And I don't know if you recall, but mid-March, we had the groundbreaking ceremony for this upcoming facility, and I want to talk about the progress with it thus far. And joining me today is Brad Kerr, our Director of Engineering for the city of Rocky Mount. Hey, Brad, welcome to City Beat.
Well, glad to be here.
Yeah, I think it's your first time on the show, so thank you for joining us.
It is that.
Yeah, at least with me anyway, so thank you.
Yeah, first time.
Before we talk about this project, this initiative, tell us a little bit about what you do for the city and what your role is specifically with this project.
Okay, so I'm the Director of Engineering. We manage and plan and manage capital projects for the city, generally around roads, water, sewer, storm drainage, but we do some building projects. We did the South Rocky Mount Community Center recently. So.
Wow, and that was a great job.
Yeah, that turned out really well.
Yeah. So pretty much you're overseeing this whole project.
I'm the owner's representative for this project, so I'm working with the contractor and our various consultants to coordinate between all the parties and kind of make sure that the city's interests are represented.
Okay, so I know I was joking with Brad a little earlier. You're really, really busy.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
Exactly. So tell me a little bit about the key players in regards to construction for this facility.
So for construction, Barnhill Holt Brothers is the design build contractor. The architect, which is a little unusual for these type of projects for design build, is new for us, works for the contractor. So it's a design build team that put this project together and is working through the entire project rather than the traditional where design it, then bid it, then build it. So we've been working with Holt Brothers, Oakley Collier, Sink Homes Deathless, who's a big, arena designer around the country. They've been working with Oakley Collier and Barnhill for the design of the project for over 2 years now. Okay.
And speaking of arenas, we know that the primary use for this facility is going to be as an indoor sporting arena. But what are some other uses for this facility?
So this facility itself is designed to be extremely flexible, probably unique, definitely in the Southeast, and maybe in the nation for the types of events that it can hold within it. So amateur sports is the key primary function of the facility. It's a 72,000 square foot field house, which will be way up in the air out here.
Wow.
Will occupy this entire site. But also with that is a convention meeting space that'll seat 600 or so within that, full catered kitchen. There's a cafe that will provide food, various different types of menus, typical cafe, food court kind of setup. There's a thing called the Family Entertainment Center, which has in it an indoor ropes course, what we call Velocity. It's kind of a play center. I don't even really know exactly what it is, but then this climbing center. It's kind of like a giant jungle gym, but you have ropes so folks can climb up and then be safe while they're climbing. But it's a pretty big facility. And then the field house itself will function not only for amateur sports, 8 basketball courts or 16 volleyball courts can be set up for conventions, can be set up for a concert or graduations, and we could also set it up, seat 4,200 people or so for an arena event. So like a basketball, traditional college basketball arena type setup. So,
like you said, very flexible.
And those events could be going on at the same time. I don't know that we would have a concert at the same time we have a
Right,
wedding, but
right.
you could be having a wedding at the same time that you had a amateur basketball tournament going on at the same time.
Okay, very interesting. Now you talked about the facility, so you said this entire space is going to be the footprint for the facility.
So the building essentially occupies every piece from where these barrels are all the way to Gold Leaf Street, and on either side of the facility will be the building. It's big, 160,000 square feet.
And I read that, but when you actually see this space, it is huge.
Yeah.
It really is. So tell me a little bit about where parking for the facility is going to be.
So parking is all over on this side. It'll wrap around essentially everything on this side that doesn't have a building on it will be parking.
Okay.
There'll be a parking lot over on this south end, and then on the other side of Ivy Street.
Now, folks, I actually saw some signs that our downtown development office did directing folks to parking if you have an event now while construction is taking place. Can you tell me about some of those areas for parking now?
Yeah, so essentially the parking that we've had over on Thomas Street, that parking is available. There's some parking on Thomas Street, but there's also a parking lot that on Northeast Main Street between Washington and Northeast Main. That lot's been underutilized really in the past, but it's really just as close to this block as the parking that was behind the building was. So it's about the same distance. Folks just not aware of it, so we got some signs out there to try to point them in the right direction.
And it's very helpful. I was here a couple of weeks ago with a fraternity event. It was at Booker T Theater, and so it was relatively easy to find a parking space. So those signs are very helpful.
Yeah, and we still have parking too. All the parking on Northeast Main Street on the west side, that's still available. Parking in front of the stores, in front of the Douglas building, that's all still available.
Okay. It looks like, is all of your demolition completed?
Yes, all demolition is completed.
And when was that done?
That was finished, I think, in mid-April.
Okay, because I know I had some people asking me about the church. That's going to remain.
That'll remain.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit. I read in the Rocky Mount Telegram how you were going to work on the foundation while engineers plan the rest of the building. So is that still being done?
That's correct. So the advantage of the design build operation is we can do kind of fast track construction, which means get the foundations designed and approved while they're finalizing the building design. And the permits for the foundation were issued a week or so ago, and they'll be getting started on those in a couple of weeks.
So what's the tentative date for the completion of the entire project?
September 2018.
All right. How do you feel about the progress you've made so far? Because, construction, I'm sure weather, it's just going to be some unpredicted delays, right? But how do you feel about it so far?
Well, we are still on track. We've had a few surprises coming out of the ground, but we've been able to handle and adjust all of those and stay on track. So we're still on schedule. We're just about out of the ground, so we expect most of the big surprises to be behind us, and should go as smooth as any other project in the future.
I hope I'm getting this term correctly. Geopiers.
Geopiers, yes.
Okay, new technology. Tell me how that works and how it's been beneficial for your project.
Well, we haven't started it yet. That's what we're going to start in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So geopiers are essentially, when we did the soil testing out here, we found that the soils are really don't have a whole lot of bearing capacity, 5 or 6 feet down or something like that. So geopiers are essentially pile foundations, but it's a different technology. Rather than rammed piles, it's a column of stone. They'll drill a hole in the ground, fill it full of stone, compact it coming up, and that'll provide the bearing capacity for traditional spread footing to sit on top of it.
Okay. And this is the first time the city has ever done this?
First time we've done it, yeah.
Okay.
So Barnhill's done it before.
Okay.
But it's the first time we've had any experience with it.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Brett, anything else that you want to mention about construction and all that good stuff?
Well, construction is always exciting. Hopefully we'll see some steel going up somewhere around September.
Okay.
And that'll get very interesting when we get that. And we're looking forward to this project getting open, and I think it's going to be really good for the downtown. This project has spurred a lot of interest in the areas surrounding that. We've got a lot of interest in those projects, and we're excited about hopefully those coming online very soon too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Rocky Mount is going to have a facelift with this CSX facility. It's just going to be amazing, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be an interesting few years.
So hopefully you can join us back on the show. I want to continue to give maybe quarterly updates or so to folks about the progress that's going on with the facility.
I'd be happy to do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Brad, for joining us on the show today. Thank you as well. We're going to be back in just a moment. I want to remind you, if you want updates on the facility, you can visit the website, rockymountec.com, or you can text RMEC to 55469. Brad Kerr, our Director of Engineering. When we come back, we're going to talk about the new exhibit at the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences. This is City Beat.
Know why the Twin Counties was named the most charitable area in North Carolina? It's because the generous folks of Edgecombe and Nash gave $120 million to charities last year.
Hello and welcome back to City Beat. I'm Tamika Keenan Norman, and if you're just tuning into our show today, a big thanks to Brad Kerr, our Director of Engineering, for joining us a little earlier to give us an update on the progress happening at the Rocky Mount Event Center. And now, as you can see, we're at the Imperial Center for the Arts and Sciences Children's Museum and Science Center, and a familiar face with us. I think this is like your third or fourth time on the show.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, so welcome back.
Thank you.
Leigh White, our Curator of Education for the Museum and Science Center. So happy to have you here. And we're here to talk about this new exhibit, the latest exhibit, Roots of Wisdom, Native Knowledge, Shared Science.
Yes.
I got it right?
Yes, you did. Good job.
Well, I understand the grand opening coincided with the start of Lawn Chair Theater.
Yes.
But how long can visitors see this exhibit, and what will they experience when they come here?
Well, Roots of Wisdom will be with us till September 3rd, so you have all summer to come back and come back multiple times and catch different parts and pieces of it. But Roots of Wisdom looks at some of the Native American environmental practices that are historic to different cultures and how we're using them today to solve some of our environmental problems.
Okay, so why did this particular exhibit catch your attention?
I think a lot of looking at the environmental issues. You know, we have a lot of environmental issues here in the United States today, and this is looking at some of the ways that those can be solved, you know, with practices that aren't necessarily real high tech.
Gotcha.
But very successful.
Okay, so this sounds like it may be geared towards a little bit older set of kids. What's the age group?
This is about ages 8 or 9 and up. But there are fun activities for all ages.
Okay.
But the text and concepts are a little bit older, 8 and up.
Okay. I love your exhibits because they always combine fun and learning. A lot of times you don't even realize, hey, I learned something here.
Yes.
So how does this exhibit demonstrate that?
There's some video games that you can come in and play that teach you the practices that have been used for different environmental issues, and you learn some background as to why it works, the science behind it. So some fun hands-on activities.
Okay, and I think you have something related to bees as well with this one, right?
We do. It's an exhibit that will kind of be a little more entertaining for those younger children, maybe 3 and up.
Okay.
So it's about the secrets of bees. So, you know, we have a big problem right now with bee populations decreasing all around the world.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
It's a really big issue. They do so much pollination of our food crops and things that it is a really big issue right now. So this is a fun way for the kids to come in and learn about bees and why they're important.
And you're talking about learning about bees. What else do you want folks to walk away with once they leave this exhibit? If they could learn one thing.
We always just want it to be fun. Fun with education behind it. And I want to, like you said, to walk out and say, hey, I didn't realize I just learned a bunch of things.
Exactly.
So we hope that's what they take away from here, and they come back again to see what else comes up next, or come back and see some of their favorite parts of this exhibit.
So, Leigh, who designed this particular exhibit, and how did you find out about it?
This exhibit actually came from Oregon, from the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. They're actually a really great organization. They do a lot of traveling exhibits, so they have a wide range of different subject matter and things that they provide exhibits for other museums.
Okay, so I want you to, like we always do, show me a few parts of the exhibit that you really find interesting, maybe something a little hands-on, because we don't want to give it all away.
Well, no.
Yeah, we want folks to come back and actually see this exhibit until September. So we'll be right back in just a moment, and Leigh is going to show me around. So we told you we were going to show you around a little bit, and right now we're in front of one part of the exhibit, Roots of Wisdom, and this one is called Tulalip Tribes. I got that right?
Yes.
Okay. So Leigh is going to tell us a little bit about this. Looks very interesting and educational.
Yes, definitely. So one of the issues they were having was that a lot of the old vegetation that they used to grow and harvest had kind of become lost, and the processes for doing that organically. So this particular tribe has really gone back to its roots with trying to get organic farming going of certain crops that,
Okay.
that are historically important to their tribe. So this is talking some about the cucumbers and kale and blueberries. So we can take our wand and we can water our
Kale
organic
and
crops.
spinach are good substitutes for stinging nettle, a native food plant. Whether eaten as a salad green, added to soups, or blended in smoothies, kale is full of health benefits.
Okay, so it'll give you some information about each part of this. Okay,
Yes,
that's
about how each
good.
plant is used by the tribe, and a little bit of background on some of their organic growing processes. And then the other side is about, again, the bees and how we can pollinate the different plants. So kind of a tie-in with our other exhibit, The Secrets of Bees.
Okay, so I'm going to try this one. It's called Nodding Onion. I've never heard of that. So.
Nodding onion has a pretty flower and strong onion flavor. It can be grown in the garden and dried for seasoning foods. We harvest it in the early spring before it flowers. Nodding onion goes well with sockeye salmon, which comes in the early spring too.
That's really interesting. Yeah, it gives you some really good information. So you're going to show us around what's next.
Next, we'll be looking at the issues with runoff.
Okay, and that's really cool because it was Stormwater Awareness Week recently.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We'll be right back. Come on, Mark. So Leigh talked a little bit earlier about runoff, and we're in front of that exhibit called River Cane Ecology. Leigh was showing it to me a little earlier. Very interesting. Tell us how this one works.
Well, this is looking at runoff. So rain issues with where we get a lot of runoff, and our local, or one of our more local tribes, the Eastern Cherokee, and how river cane has been depleted and how that's causing problems with runoff. So in this exhibit, we're showing where if you have vegetation on a hill, when it rains, the vegetation will help slow the rain down and hopefully slow down a lot of your runoff. So we can gather up some raindrops, release them onto the hill, and you see that a lot of the raindrops get stopped and slowed down and are able to sink into the soil. If we have a hill that doesn't have any vegetation on it, the rain just kind of picks up speed, runs down the hill, and very little of it is actually being used by the soil. Most of it has just run off.
So who knew that river cane would do that, would help with that?
Native Americans did, and they are working very hard in the western part of the state to get areas restocked of river cane along the rivers.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Leigh. And check out this new exhibit, Roots of Wisdom, Native Knowledge, Shared Science. Thanks so much, Leigh White, for
Thank
joining
you.
us on the show today. And if you want any information, further information about the exhibit, you can always visit the website at imperialcenter.org. Thanks so much for tuning in to this edition of City Beat. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan Norman, and we'll see you back soon.